is your host with the most, the one, the only Warhammer. And I am back today with a very special presentation. It's a very special, very interesting aspect of Dragon Ball Z that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. It's pretty well known, but it's not that well known. It is the Bardock Special. In Japan, known as a final solitary battle, the warrior of the father of Z warrior Kakarrot, who challenged Frieza. In the West, known otherwise as Bardock, the father of Goku. This is a very interesting television special because it highlights a story that is perhaps the black sheep of all of Dragon Ball Z. It is very unusual because it does not take place on Earth, and it has very little or nothing to do with Goku or any of his family or friends. And also, it takes place years before the first episode of Dragon Ball. And yet, this television special is intricately aligned with the Saiyan, Namek, and Frieza arcs. And I guess you could also throw in the Resurrection F arc as well. Because, as well as Granola, the Survivor arc, because it is linked in with those story arcs. But it takes place many decades prior to the events of the Saiyan or Frieza arc, or the Granola arc. So what is it about? It is about the adventures of Team Bardock, and specifically the various missions that they undergo, as well as Frieza's inspiration for destroying planet Vegeta and genociding the Saiyan race. It also explains how Kakarrot, Vegeta, Nappa, etc., and I guess, by proxy Raditz, how they all survived the genocide. And the origins of, the story that Raditz thought happened, that an asteroid crashed in and destroyed planet Vegeta, which is what Raditz believed at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z and what he told Goku and the others on Roshi's Island at the very beginning of Z. So, here we go. We are going to be talking about all the deaths, or every death in a final solitary battle, the father of Z warrior Kakarrot, who challenged Frieza. And yes, I will be using the Japanese name for the television special. This television special is intricately connected to how Dragon Ball Z, takes place. Forge Gang, let's go! Dragon Ball Forge Gang, let's go! Let's go! What's up, Chan Kadoki? Awesome. Japanese, let's go. Yeah, dude. The Japanese title for all of the Dragon Ball Z movies and television specials, they're way cooler sounding than the Funimation dub versions. Funimation has, the dumbest shit. Dave Clyde, how's it going? It's going good, man. How about yourself? All good in the forge. Hood, let's go, little shimmy. Alright, so anyways, the first events at the very beginning of the Bardock special, Bardock, Shugish, Tora, Bargos, and Fasha transform into giant Ozarus, and they basically start killing and wiping out all of the Kanassans. So all the Kanassans on the planet die during that night when they're Ozarus, and they just freaking stomp out and rampage over the entire planet. It's pretty brutal and barbarous. But what would you expect from Scions? What else would you expect from a race like Scions? I mean, they do work for the Frieza Force. So anyways, all of the inhabitants of planet Kanasa are cleared off, and then one final Kanasan transfers psychic power and energy into Bardock in his mind, and then he's destroyed by a ki blast. But now Bardock basically can see into the future and can read minds, and now it's going to torture and taunt him. So anyways, Bardock's teammates go to another planet, which I think is Planet Meat. They wipe out all of the Menetians there, but then Dodoria's elites arrive, like Dodoria's powerful elites, and they kill Fasha, Bargos, Shugish, and Tora. So all of Bardock's teammates are killed. When Bardock arrives, only one of them is still alive, and he just dies in his hands. And from that day forward, Bardock swears vengeance on his enemies. So Bardock immediately gets into a fight with Dodoria's team, or Dodoria's elites. And keep in mind that Bardock is a low-class Scion, and he is fighting like the very elites. Like the equivalent to what Nappa, Vegeta, Kiwi, Dodoria, Zarbon are at in the Scion and Namek arcs. So Bardock has a pretty rough time, but eventually he starts powering up. Maybe he gets a Zenkai boost. He overpowers and kills all of Dodoria's team. And then Dodoria shots him out. Or fires a ki blast that basically knocks him out. But Bardock survives. And then later, when Frieza comes to planet Vegeta in his spaceship, Bardock flies up into space and he starts fighting a bunch of Frieza Force soldiers. So basically, like hundreds and hundreds of different Frieza Force soldiers are killed and wiped out by punches and kicks and ki blasts and stuff. But Bardock is beginning to be overpowered. I mean, he's just not really strong enough to basically take on all of these different Frieza Force soldiers. You know, they're like Dodoria, Zarbon level and stuff. Bardock is probably about on the same level as Nappa, probably a little bit less, and he's like fighting much more tougher guys. Then the boss himself comes out, Frieza in his hover throne. Bardock proceeds to fire a bunch of different ki blasts at Frieza, and he tells Frieza that basically the Saiyans have quit working for him, and that Frieza needs to leave planet Vegeta behind, you know, and whatever. So he fires ki blasts, but they're basically just absorbed directly into the supernova. Frieza fires the supernova. Thousands and thousands of Frieza Force soldiers are killed instantly by the supernova. Bardock is caught up into it and dies instantly. And then the supernova hits planet Vegeta, and guess what? All of the inhabitants of planet Vegeta are blown up and wiped out, and planet Vegeta is destroyed. Now, there is another scene in the Bardock special where Prince Vegeta IV kills a bunch of Saibai-mon, and then there's another scene where he's killing some inhabitants on a planet that he plans to help Frieza take over so that he can sell it to make money in the planet trade business. Very popular in the galaxy, a very popular thing in the galaxy. Anyways, Bardock's son, or his second son, Kakarrot, ends up on planet Earth and is adopted by Grandpa Gohan. And at the end of the Bardock special, we basically see various different scenes of kid and adult Goku going throughout his life up until the Namek arc. There's scenes of Goku fighting Red Ribbon Army soldiers, Demon King Piccolo and his clan of demons. He's fighting Piccolo at the 23rd Budokai. He's fighting against his older brother Raditz and then the Saiyans Nappa and Vegeta, or Prince Vegeta in the Saiyan arc. There's some scenes from the early part of the Namek arc, and that's basically the end of the Bardock special. This special was made back in 1990, so, this was made years and years before Dragon Ball Minus was written by Toriyama. So there's no Gine, there's no, strong family-oriented values or anything like that. Bardock is not a good guy. He is evil in the special. He is a bad guy, and he's just playing the role of Shadow the Hedgehog and being something of an anti-hero and fighting the villain, which is Frieza. So, a young kid Vegeta, a younger-looking Nappa, a baby Kakarrot, as well as Grandpa's son Gohan, which is interesting, and Dodoria and Zarbon all make cameos in the Bardock special. The Bardock special is very intricate, and I think that it is quite important to understanding how the story of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z progress later on, even though Toriyama eventually writes it off with Dragon Ball Minus and then the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Alright, so Chan Kadoki, Forge Gang, Dragon Ball, Forge Gang, let's go. Japanese, let's go. Forge Gang, how's it going? All good in the Forge Hood, let's go. Alright, wait a second. How is it going? What about Ocean Dub? The Ocean Dub is way worse than the Funimation dub, basically. So, yeah, screw the Ocean Dub. It's over 9,000! Hashtag Team Frieza. Farida. Oops, LOL. Funny dude. Bardock gets thrown back in time and kills Frieza's grandpa, Lord Chilled. Chilled is not the grandfather of Frieza. He is an ancient ancestor of Frieza. And that episode of Bardock, that's based on a manga that was not written by Toriyama himself. It was written by a woman, a Japanese woman. I forgot her name, around 2011. And the episode of Bardock thing was released in 2012. It was actually released 1 year before the Dragon Ball Minus bonus chapter was released alongside Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. So Bardock goes back into the past. He becomes a Super Saiyan, and he basically kills or maims Chilled, and that's how Frieza apparently gains knowledge of the legend of the Super Saiyan, or the so-called legendary Super Saiyan. So, that's actually something that's not canon. It's outside the scope of what I was talking about in regards to the Bardock special, but it is very interesting. So anyways, those are all the deaths in the Bardock special, otherwise known as a final solitary battle, the father of Z-Warrior Kakarrot, who challenged Frieza. Basically, this helps, watching the Bardock special helps you to basically come to understand what the Saiyan, Namek, and Frieza arcs are all about. The background of Goku's father and stuff. And if you don't watch the Bardock special and you watch Goku and Frieza's fight on Namek, it becomes a bit harder to understand. But when you watch the Bardock special, the fight between Goku and Frieza seems like it was an inevitability. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, so that's going to be it. See ya.